It is Father's Day here in Ohio. Well, it's Father's Day everywhere, I believe. But it's definitely Father's Day here in Ohio. We're gonna do a little driving around, and I got my boy Voyage of Ice and Fire tonight. Now, today I woke up to the news that so last week when this is the time of year when we get our horses qualified, but there's not always 2-year-old racing, right? That's why Voyage of Ice and Fire is in with 3-year-olds tonight, the same as Massive Profit tomorrow. Irv Miller calls me this morning and says, I got them to write a 2-year-old trot race starting this Friday. Now, I guess in fairness to me, I don't think the sheet was out for Indiana. I didn't see it anyway. The sheet was out for Indiana when we entered Massive Profit. So I guess I'll take solace in that, I suppose. But he could have raced against 2-year-olds on Friday. So a little bit of a snafu, a hiccup, but nevertheless, it's not a stake race. It's one of the little mini-series things, and he said he can race the next week. So it really doesn't matter. It does in the sense that would have been a great fit for him. But it doesn't matter in the sense that it's a long summer, and I guess whatever. He's going to get a race. So they're both going to leave on Tuesday and head to Irv Miller. Anyway, this is a 3-year-old video, and we're talking about 2-year-olds. So, do you have something to say for the peanut gallery over there? I'm looking through our 3-year-old list, and I don't know how many we have. I'm going to guess we have 40, 30, something like that. And I can only see 2 horses on this list that really are in jeopardy of being moved. And I think we all know who they are. The first one is Gray as the New Red. Threw a tidy little 5th place 6th at them last night in the mud at Northfield at 3-5. And then Can't Muscle Me, who's been, I've said that there are some horses that really benefited from the time off from that lockdown. She was not one of them. She needed that time to get better and better and better. And now she's thrown into a summer where we have stake horses, right? The maidens are dominated by horses prepping for races or getting ready to race. There's not, in a month, there'll be a place for a Can't Muscle Me to slowly get better. And trotting fillies, especially well-bred ones, yeah, I can give an argument for that. But as far as racing, it's going to be really light, I think, for her. So I would entertain potentially selling her over the next month. That's not to say I will. Gray as a New Red will be sold if we get somebody that wants to buy her. But Can't Muscle Me, I'm watching. I would entertain a potential sale of her simply because the first part of her learning process has been stolen from her. She was supposed to be racing March, April, May. We go to qualifier. She was so-so. And then we went to race her. She made a break on Mario in the qualifier. She made a break on Scott Coulter in the race behind the gate. And it's not like I can say, well, I'll just send her over here to do what? The maidens here are pretty stiff also. There's more racing opportunities for her in Ontario, especially because she's an Ontario bred. We have Grand River. We have even places like Hanover and things of that nature. So I'm going to entertain and look at all possibilities when it comes to Can't Muscle Me. But quite frankly, I think we found good places for all of our 3-year-olds for the most part. Some updates I'm going to give you here in a minute. But for the most part, we've been off to a pretty good start with our sophomores. Adrenaline Rush kicked off his 2021 season with a victory. Mario drove him great, but it was a good class also for him this week. Don't get me wrong, but I think he drew the outside this week at Georgian Downs. But coming off a very convincing win, and a horse like him, that win will go a long way for his confidence. Better's Hope even found a great class for him. He's in the maiden, but we can still race him in the condition claiming side of the maiden. So we have options with Better's Hope, and he raced good. Mario was happy with him. I was happy with him. Obviously our expectations have been diminished over the last year, but we have to be realistic of what we're dealing with. Just because we want a horse to be a good horse doesn't mean that they are. But as long as we can find a class to consistently race them in, I think we're going in the right direction. So Better's Hope, very happy with him. I'm not getting off here. Caught that. Blue Monk again got run over at Mohawk and the numbers are 2 because he's not a Mohawk horse. He could be someday, but he isn't right now. And we found a perfect spot for him last night. Travis drove him good. 2 moved him. 2nd and 54 flat. Probably paced 54 and 2. that's a good mile for that horse, and it proves it. And then the next step up doesn't get much tougher. So I mean, there's lots of racing for a horse like Blue Monk. Also, full disclosure, I did have one person call me this week asking to buy him, but I told him, and what I'll tell everybody else, for those horses that can do, we're going to want claiming price. There's no bargains to be given out. I'm not in a big hurry to sell a Blue Monk that can race 3-4 times in that class at multiple racetracks and make money every week. Why would I? So you want to claim them? Claim them. You want to buy them? It's going to take claiming price. So no disrespect. If they want to, that's fine with me. I don't have a problem selling the horse for what we have him in the claiming race for. But at the same time, I'm not going to be discounting prices for horses that are going to be very effective all season long. So Blue Monk, a little bit of a hiccup putting him in the Mohawk the first start, but I think you know what, it's not the end of the world. You're going to have races where you get a real honest look at what you have and you don't have, and we got a real, it was a splash in the face with some cold water last week, but it allowed us to really look at things and say, okay, now we know what he's not. Let's race him where he belongs, and that's exactly what we did. So a great job putting him in the right class this week. Brilliant Corners, same thing. I get the feeling Harry didn't love Brilliant Corners. He's not a nice horse to be around all the time. He can pull and lug and makes it hard to do your job sometimes, and I think Harry looked down the shed row at the horses he had and where they were placed and what they were and were not, and decided that, hey, he said to me after the race, he goes, Brilliant Corners, I know you sent War We Welcome to Carmen Osiello. Maybe Brilliant Corners could go there too. And I appreciate the candor and the honesty from Harry. It's not that easy to do if you're a trainer to say, hey, send this horse to someone else. It's not an easy proposition. So I appreciate not only the job Harry did, but the professionalism in saying, hey, maybe a fresh set of eyes for this guy. So that's what we did. Brilliant Corners has headed to the Carmen Osiello barn. As I said, Can't Muscle Me in a bit of a gray area right now, and but keep in mind, she is a well-bred filly. She's out of a sister to market share. She's at a decent size to her. She does hold some value, and if we were offered money for her, yeah, we'd sell her. But at the same time, I'm not going to give her away right now. She is a 3-year-old trotting filly with, I believe, 1 lifetime start. First Glance raced incredible the other day. Here's the horse. Mario's barn's doing very, very well. Both the baby qualifiers and then again looking at the sophomores. He's put them in the right place. He's driven them great. He drove this horse fantastic the other day. Gray is the New Red raced great, and he drove him great. There's no two ways about it. What did I say? Oh no, she hasn't raced good in a long time. First Glance raced excellent the other day. Gray's the New Red, not to be confused with the two. One raced polar opposite of the other. And I'm not disparaging Gray's the New Red. I just don't think she's a good horse. It's unfortunate, looking back. I even took the time last week to go back and look at our training videos of Gray's the New Red and how good she looked and how we thought of her. But that just goes to show, if you don't have that burning desire to compete and be a good athlete, whether it be human or horse or anything, then you won't. And she just doesn't have that instant. And quite frankly, I think her father probably gave that to her. And again, Racing Hill was a good horse, but has not been a good sire thus far. I'm sure you can find me 1 or 2 that are good, but I can show you a whole field full of ones that aren't. And she just fits in. So hopefully she can fit into the maiden. I know she was 3 to 5 last night. I know that Jason's going to say she's not as good on the front end, and I get that. But winners win and losers lose, and she seldom finds a way to win. So again, it sounds like I dislike the filly. I don't. I just don't think she's not a very good horse, and certainly not a horse for the stable. But we're not going to throw her away and give her away. She does hold some value, and I think we should demand that. So that's where we're at right now with Gray's the New Red. Is that I have had people call and offer us amounts of money. It's just not enough. Next, we have a Glare AM. Different situation again. You always get a mixed bag with horses. This is a filly that will make money and will be a very good horse, but we're at a place right now where she had hit up on that left hind. Didn't injure it, but did bruise it. I guess, how can I explain it to you? The discomfort would be the same as smashing your leg into the frame of your bed in the middle of the night, then getting up in the morning and doing the same thing again. It's not very comfortable. But the good news is I think we can shoo her away from it. I mean, she went almost her whole life without hitting there to begin with. So I don't see a reason why we can't get her back to that position. So, as I say it out loud, and sometimes it helps to talk it through because you work it out in your mind. When did she hit? when she left Ontario, she may have hit, and that would have been right when the corks come off. So maybe she needs a little more grab up front. Never thought about that till right now. Usually, I think we have her shod the way you would normally shoe a horse. But now that I say it out loud, looking at the timeline of this filly, maybe she's a horse that needs a little more grab up front. It's a possibility. It's very possible. So at Glarium, I guess the most important thing, the most important takeaway from this is, she is going to win the Naumers 2, Naumers 3, Naumers 4, 5, 6. She is a very, very, very fast filly, but she can only win those once. So let's do it right. She's not a sire stake filly. When you're talking about the Stallion Series, it's the same as a grassroots. I tell you guys this all the time. Unless you have the best one, who cares? You're really just paying to compete. And that's not really that interesting to me. So we'll get Glarium 100% correct. We'll get her on top of her game, and she'll be back going very well in no time at all. I'm a Lovely Lady. Certainly no hiccups from this filly. I was telling Amy, I looked the other day, the only start, since we put the hobbles on this filly, the only start that she didn't miss that she missed a check, only once in her life. That was when she raced in the final of the Hackett back in March. This filly's been I don't think she's missed the board in her last 7. She's just been a really, really nice filly, and quite frankly, a treat to drive. She's just a sweetheart. She does everything right, does nothing wrong, and can trot in 56. Pretty hard to find any faults with a horse like I'm a Lovely Lady. Italian Grit, they're a perfect example of horses that can't do over here, but we're finding a new place for them. Italian Grit went back to Ontario with Travis. I think he'll do very, very well in the class he's in with Travis. The class he'll be in with Travis over there, so it made sense to send him back. Now, a horse that absolutely can do what they're supposed to do is Jazzy Judy. She was awesome last week, and quite frankly, no, I'm not trying to be arrogant. It was mostly just there it is there. It was mostly just I know what these people do. They rent these places out to I was going to get my hair cut, and not a lot of people work on Sundays. Some hair salons, but not many. And there was this place, I couldn't understand, of salon lofts. What they do, they buy those buildings and lease out spots to hairstylists. That's why it was so hard to find them. Jazzy Judy, just a romp the other day, really just jogged. And I can't go there this week. We just got too much going on. She's already got a berth in the final. So I'd said to Jimmy, listen, just drive her yourself, or put whoever you want on her. The way she's hung up, the way we have her hung up, the way she is, just don't be in a hurry with her. And that's in a 6-horse field with horses that really can't beat her. It's not that hard to do. Just keep her quiet, file her to the rail. When she wants to move her, go forward. That's pretty much it. It is a race and things happen, so I'm not trying to say she's a slam dunk. She should be on paper, but that's not to say she will be. It's going to be a horse race, but I expect that she will do good things. Oh, this is cool, right? Here it is here. When do you find out where your place is? Wow, this is neat. The thing I love about Ohio is nothing is cookie cutter here. There's some places, but everything is so neat. I don't know how to explain it. I guess people from places like New York will say the same thing. You'll drive into an area and there's just all these different places here. Look at this. Latin Kitchen and Rum Bar. He thinks he likes. So Jazzy Judy, as I said, I'm not going to be arrogant enough to say she is a winner no matter what. That would be stupid. This is a horse race. Hobbles break, shoes get lost, people get interfered with, I found out. But there's no slam dunks. But if you're going to look for a horse, that probably should do really well this Wednesday, Jazzy Judy's probably it. Miss Meringue, getting better. Jason was happy with the way she trained the other day. I'm sorry I've been vague about these fillies, but they've just come up against hurdles and really struggled a little bit. Now they're starting to get their feet back underneath them. They look really, really good. I've been happy with what I've seen from both these fillies, but they need to do a lot more to get to the races. And I think that's the position we're at right now, is getting them to the races. I would love to give you an exact timeline. I've tried to give you one with my Jazz. We'll talk about her in a minute. But again, when you're dealing with these nagging problems that just cause more problems to begin with, you're always left trying to patch up the main issue that's bothering them. At the same time, put out those little fires that come up along the way. So we'll get them there, but they're not there yet. Where are we at now? Mama Knows Best is going to take a trip to Pennsylvania, I believe, next Thursday. She will fit that Numbers of 3 class like a glove at the Meadows. This should lead her, unless she draws 7, 8, 9. If she could ever draw 2, 3, 4 in the class, historically it has been racing there on Thursdays. I think she wins in 56, takes a new lifetime mark, and is sharp as attack going into the second Buckeye of the year, which she had a great showing in the first one. Remember, she was third, right? That was a Buckeye in Miami Valley when we went. Raced great that day. This filly's really coming on. Not only is she going to be a good 3-year-old for us, I think she's going to be a very good 4-year-old for us also. My Jazz. So, My Jazz, we had her foot completely rebuilt. Now, yeah, we're going to get out. Do you guys want to get out for a sec? No. I'm almost finished up. I only got 3 or 4 more horses, too. Maybe 8 or 9. But I'll get them done quick.
8 or 9.
By the time you get everybody out, I'll be ready to rock almost.
No, I did that the other day, and you were another 20 minutes.
No, I promise I won't be 20 minutes. It's Father's Day. You have to do what I say. Chop, chop. Don't be making growly faces at me. So My Jazz, she had her foot rebuilt. Now, underneath all that, that's good for stability, but underneath all that patchwork is still 3 cracks in the hoof. Now, they've cleaned them up, they've dried them up, and they will heal, and that stability will help them, but they're there. And I can't tell you how quickly My Jazz's foot can heal up. It's a mess. It was a mess. As you know, you've been through it with me. But we have to understand that this is a good horse, and I can't push any more than she's willing to do. So right now, My Jazz is actually at the Meadows. That's where the Betts brothers were. That worked on the filly's foot, and I told them multiple times I appreciate all the work they did. I told them I'll be there Tuesday to qualify our 2 2-year-olds. I want to maybe jog her, see how she is. If she feels able, turn her and go a slow mile, and then I'll have a better idea for you. We're aiming for that July 5th timeline, and I know we keep pushing and pushing and pushing it back, but that's not our doing. That's her doing. We can only do what My Jazz can do. There's no broken bones or torn suspensories. This is a hoof problem. It will heal, but it hasn't yet. And that's where we're at with My Jazz. So I understand. I appreciate the latitude and the patience you've given us, but we're going to need a little bit more here. No Free Lunch was incredible last night. Winner in 152-1. James drove him good. Harry has him good. And, this just speaks to a lot of the time James and I butt heads over the way horses should be trained. Mario does not train the way Harry does. Harry does not train the way Anthony or James does. So you get this huge mix of horsemanship. And it's wonderful to watch it transpire and come to fruition. But it's also frustrating for someone like James. Like, James is 33 and obviously a world-class driver. But sometimes this game is new for everyone. And it's very difficult to watch it take place where you want something done your way. It's not done your way, but it still turns out pretty good. Right? And I think it's the same, almost like when you cook food, I suppose. A lot of chefs are different and a lot of trainers are different. But that core horsemanship is right there. And to watch No Free Lunch do well and Mario's barn do well and Jason's barn do well, it is really, really uplifting. And No Free Lunch was obviously incredibly good last night. Looks like we're going to have a lot of fun with this guy again this year. Northern Blizzard, I think we all can see he's knocking on the door. That's a tough class, right? I told you last week, he'll win that class probably next week. That's no cakewalk in there. Those are good horses. So I think I'll walk that statement back from he'll jog and he'll win to he can. Wouldn't shock me if he win in 54 next week. Wouldn't shock me if he's 5th in 56. That's all I got.
Where did Ava, Mom, and I go?
Just one sec. You and I will walk that way too. There's tons of shops there. You and I will walk around. If you want to just jump in, wait. You and I will walk that way. We'll find them. So Northern Blizzard sitting on a big mile. Is it this week? Is it next week? I don't know. I know he's got a lot of Bearcats in with him again, but good horse. So let's just see how this turns out. I can't wait to watch him race. Perfect Records Racing Tuesday. I know Mark took the hobbles off him. If he trots well without hobbles, I will be shocked. But again, we just finished talking about different horsemanship, different ways to get horses trot. Mark, don't, buddy, don't. Mark Beckwith is from the old school horsemanship also. I haven't had the opportunity and the pleasure to sit down and have a meal with Mr. Beckwith. He seems like a really sharp character and a really nice man. I haven't had the opportunity to do that yet, but the way that I approach training is not the way that other people, whether it be old school or not, approaches training. And Again, different philosophies, but it really doesn't matter. It's how you get there, right? So we'll give Mark the latitude he wants. If he wants to try and race perfect record with hobbles, who knows? Maybe he'll trot in 55. I don't know. You know, I've always said this. There's nothing more beautiful than a clean gated, beautiful trotter without hobbles on. Globe trotting the other day, you couldn't have wiped the smile off my face with a brick if you wanted to. And she was so good. So if Mark Beckwith can somehow get this horse to race without hobbles, hey, top marks to him. I can't wait to see it. I'm curious. I'll be watching, to put it that way. Rose Run, Why Not? Exact same boat as Miss Meringue. It's funny, eh? We went back as yearlings. Look at the yearling video. I said, these fillies are twins. One we gave all the money for, one we gave nothing for. Both of them are struggling to get to their 3-year-old season. They'll get there. They'll get there. But it's a chore right now. So Admirable. That's right. So Admirable was good the other day. Mark thought that maybe he had the snake cord on her. She maybe didn't wear one. And quite frankly, she was in our barn. She probably did. But Kevin had trained her down. He didn't really like the snake cords either. So there's a chance she never did have one on. He said she didn't feel the same or act the same. So we'll see how she acts next week. But she did look comfortable. And she did look confident. So I'm happy in that regard. Sweet Ambitions. Very mediocre horse. But bangs out money every week. She'll be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. If she finds it a little tough at Saratoga and at Massachusetts, she can find her way back to Ontario. 15 claimer, all the way up the nominators of 70. There is tons of racing for a horse like Sweet Ambition. So even though she never wows me, never gives me that fuzzy feeling down deep about how awesome she is, she can bang out money. She very, very low maintenance filly, and really a nice horse to have. Even though she's not a nice horse, she's a nice horse to have in the sense that lots of classes for this filly. There's no concerns with her at all. Tanzanite Tricks looked absolutely incredible the other day. I know Ollie loves Tanzanite Tricks. Tricks is a filly you cheer for. She had hocks, big hocks her whole life. She had OCDs removed. They were very reactive. She always was a little steppy, she needed to grow mature. You know, you look at a horse like Can't Muscle Me, that time really crushed her. Really crushed her. You can't make that February, March racing and experience up in the summer. It's very, very hard to do. At the same time, Tanzanite Tricks that time off, while she was racing, it really helped her. It turned her into the horse we wanted. So it's going to help some horses and hurt other ones. There's two very, very perfect examples of bookends of what was bad about the lockdown and good for the horses. Tanzanite Tricks is going to come forward in a big way, I believe. She was wrapped up in 57 the other day. I can't help but believe she's probably going to trot in 55 in the near future, 56. James has done a great job with her. She looked great today. Jason, Cindy, everybody associated with Tanzanite Tricks has done a great job. Very happy to see this filly doing well. That's my girl moving up to the numbers of 2. I love what I saw the other day. As I said to everybody, make no mistake, that's my girl's first race lifetime was the other day. Everything before that was practice runs, frustrating ones too, but she's finally starting to put it together. Some horses are wooden-headed and just can't learn at a proper rate. Am I saying she's dumb? I don't know. Is she stubborn? I'm not sure. But she got it the other day. If she can build off that, we could finally have that's my girl that I know and you know we always had. She just couldn't put it all together. It all seemed to mesh together last week. So we'll see what this week brings. Tipsy and Dixie has been awesome. Her sister qualified great too. Taiwan on. She's over here now. She is going to the Meadows to qualify on Tuesday. Taiwan on is. Tipsy and Dixie is racing this week. Raced great. Shot at 56 last week. Big year coming for this filly also. Walk on the Moon looked great. Mario's done a great job managing him this year. I know we were under suspicion of maybe over-racing him, putting in tough places last year. He was just always in the mix where you thought he could be more. Physically, with the allergies and whatnot, I think it held him back. He looked great the other day at Corth. I know he was in cheap, but he did his work well. I'm excited to see how he does tomorrow also. Were we welcome? Carmen thinks he can make some changes. Okay, show me. I don't want to go too far into that. She's racing better, good. If she's not, then we'll make a decision what we're going to do. I'm not getting at selling her. I think if the allergies are going to bother her and the season's a problem for her, then fine. We can switch gears. We have a number of options with her. Even though I think she is a habitual cheater, there's still lots of racing and lots of places, lots of things to do with War We Welcome, most definitely. Is she squandering her talent? 100%. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind she is, but there's still lots of talent there to use. Well and Down. Oh, poor Welly. Sold Well and Down the other day. Just had to. And raced so tough in the fair. Run 3 times in a second beat of length. And raced incredible, but she's run out of paths. to explore. And what I mean by that is we could send her to Ontario and race her in a condition claimer, but we were offered more money than her claiming price in Ontario. So it was pretty hard to justify shipping her back and racing her when we can get more money for her right now. It was a difficult sale in the sense that I loved her and all my partners loved her, but easy in the sense that it made sense. And then Won My Heart Hanover. I know we have a lot of people saying, why didn't we just leave the hobbles on her and race her? Well, and then what? Once she gets out of the numbers of 2, numbers of 3, then what? Just continue racing her until she collapses on the track? Until she's exhausted? I would like to turn her in. Now I would like to switch gears. Again, same as a Galarium. She will win the numbers of 3 and 4 and move her way up. But how do we have the most effective sophomore heading into her 4-year-old season? And I think we do have a nice filly in Won My Heart Hanover. If she can race without hobbles, I think she's a better horse. She tried the last half in 57 without hobbles on. Just need to get her that confidence at the gate. So Hunter's going to drive her on Wednesday. He schooled her. He knows where she's a little self-conscious without hobbles on. So that was great that he got a chance to school her. He'll get a chance to race her. Can't wait to see her race on Wednesday. I would love to see her get around and not have to put the hobbles back on her, quite frankly. If we have to, we will. But that's where I'm at with Won My Heart Hanover. So we're here now. We're here now at this shopping center, and it looks really cool. It is Father's Day here in Ohio. Ollie's going to take me out. You're going to take me over to that restaurant when we're done. Did you know that? I hope all the fathers out there are having a great day. It's a beautiful day here in Ohio. I will talk to you all very soon. We still got to do all the stables. We'll talk to you all very soon.